to understand. Good morning.
Hello.
We're live here with Marianne. And let's see, why do I not see the people? Yeah, Facebook. Is it on? No, it says it's on, but usually it shows me if people come in. Oh, now it's going online. Okay. So good morning. Good morning, Marianne.
Good morning.
You good? And,
Hello.
And soon we're supposed to see when the people come up here, but I don't see it right now. It's very strange. And Facebook keeps changing things, so if I do a live on my page, it looks different than here. So we're just gonna wait and see if we see the people. Usually there's this eye here, and you can see the people coming up, and you can see if they ask anything. So, okay, there's not yet anyone saying anything. So we'll just start speaking.
Okay.
And we have some people with us
Okay.
already.
Good.
You see, you can see this eye here. It tells you.
Okay.
many people
Good.
are
Okay,
here.
so it's working.
It is working.
Okay. This
And-
is all new for me. It's like I can't do these
You never
things.
went on live in Facebook. Just Zoom,
I don't. I'm not on
YouTube.
Facebook.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
And
And
so-
Zoom. Zoom. I've gone live, but my granddaughter takes care of it.
Yeah, and also in
It's all-
Zoom you can see the people. Here you can't see them.
Right.
So we don't see you guys, but they see us.
Okay.
And they can write us. They can write us over here. If you have questions today, you can write them down, and Marianne will answer them. I want to start by saying to everyone that is here, and I'll be happy if you say, hi, good morning, I see you, just so we know that you hear us and see us and that everything is going on fine. That will be nice. And also, if you feel like sharing this, so your friends who are in human design or not, this will be for everyone. Good morning, Gilad. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Hello.
That would be nice.
They're there.
You like it?
I did. I saw that. Okay.
And I'm so excited to, bring you into Facebook in some way. This has been
This is wild.
this network has been going on for years, and you haven't been in it in any way, except for people sharing your videos there and sharing
Yeah,
what you're
no,
saying.
I've always had a
Yeah.
And Rob was, he got totally excited about Facebook, and he was on, and he'd email me and say, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I really want you to be part of it. And I go, and then he'd say, it's on Facebook, and I go, I don't know why. It's just not right, but I love seeing the technology of everything.
And you see they're answering
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sending you hearts. So.
Yeah, lovely.
So I know most of you guys know Marianne, and for those who don't that are here, or for people that will watch later and maybe don't know Marianne, so I'm just going to say a few words. Is that okay? So Marianne is my teacher, and I love her, and except for that, she has been into human design for many, how much? 30 years? How long? Around 30 years.
Yeah.
Which is a very long time being in your experiment. And a close friend with Ra, and one of the, basically one of the, how do you say, not oldest.
Well, I am old.
Well,
My body's old, yes.
yeah, but like the first one
yeah.
of the first human design teachers, and for me the one that is most maybe loyal to the core, like very, right?
Loyal to the experiment, not to the knowledge.
Yes. Which is the core of human design for me, and that's what I love about you. And for me, the immersions have really brought the knowledge into the body, and then the experiment changed completely, and that's what actually radically took me to being who I am. So I appreciate you for that and your work. And I know the people that follow me, they know it.
Yes.
My students, they know it. But I just wanted let other people know who you are. And We have just finished a 5-day beautiful workshop called Love Yourself, which was for me like an immersion but a little different structure. And I wasn't sure you'll respond. I mean, after that, to say yes to, but here you are.
Here I am, and my mind really, when Pavaka asked me if I would do this interview today, I went, aha, and my mind's like saying, what? What are you going to say? And it was like, we'll just show up and see what happens. We'll see what's meant to be.
What's unfolding, which is the gift of living this. And, you know, we're speaking mostly to the Israeli crowd, and then whoever in the world will want to join us will watch it later. And I've been speaking about this situation a little bit in the workshop as well, but I know you know what's going on in the world. You know, you're 6'2", you watch.
I am seeing it all.
And do you want to say anything? Is there anything you'd like to put out here about the situation?
It's I don't know if any of you know about 2027, but
most of them do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't, I'll just say a little bit. Ra taught something called Global Consciousness Program, and they're cycles, and they last for 400 years. So for 400 years, there are themes that we live as humans. And everyone lives it. It's not like planetary transits. It's a global transit, but it changes the gate only every 400 years. So for 400 years, you have these themes that are locked in, and they're there for the evolution of humanity. And these past 400 years have been very collective, very logical, very tribal, family, communities, religion, all of this. And as themes, it's not like that's going to disappear, but as themes, these are already shifting. And what I got to see was, when I learned about it, was in the 1990s, and it was like so far away. And it was so much information, and I was fairly new at that time, and I'm like just saying, I'm a generator, I just need to respond, you know. But later I investigated because I had the material, and I looked deeply into this. Now we're in the last 7 years before 2027, and COVID came in 2020, and that was my first shock. Really a shock, because it was something that impacted every single person on the planet. We couldn't travel, we couldn't move, we couldn't leave our homes. All this stuff that was everywhere, this like, what is going on? And it was a shock. And I had retired. I had said, okay, enough. I want to just play now. I want to have a good time, you know. But with COVID, it was like, no, I need to be available, okay? So that was the first shock. And then when the bombing happened in Ukraine, that was another shock. Now, I know there's wars all over the world. There's no peace. There's no peace.
There's more than 20 wars actually going on the planet right now.
Yeah.
In Asia, in the Middle East, wars in Iran and Syria all the time, and in Africa between tribes and actually all over the place. I mean, we don't hear about all of them, but
it's different when it feels further away, which is kind of sad because it's still happening. So when the bombing happened in Ukraine, and then everything with Russia and Ukraine happened, I was shocked. I was just shocked. And then what happened in Israel,
and shock, by the way, for those who don't know, is one of the themes coming in 2027, because the cross of penetration holds the 51st gate, which is shock. So basically, one of the themes that are coming in, and we have been feeling it, we've been speaking about since COVID, is shock. I mean,
Shock.
it's not going away.
And
And people in the last 3 years feel like, okay, we're done with COVID, let's get back to life. But then it doesn't work that way. It's going to be a shock after shock after shock. And if we don't withstand the shock, if we don't have this resilience to be who we are to handle shock, then we have a problem.
Definitely, because shock is part of mutation. It's part of you. It's not just improving or, okay, I'm going to just do this a little better. It's like, okay, that's over and this is here, and it's really jumping out of something, and something else is there. So this shock was what I felt when I heard about what was happening in Israel. And my husband is Swiss, and he actually was in a kibbutz in Israel, Magen, long time ago, like 30, 40 years ago. So it was a shock for us, and for everyone, not just for us. And like Pavaka just said, that these shocks aren't going to go away. And the most important thing is to become stable within yourself, to become aligned within yourself, so that whatever's happening out here, and there's so much happening out here all over the show. Whatever's happening out here, you can meet it. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel pain, or you're not going to have fear arise, or these human experiences that come up in times of intensity and physical all of this, but that you can stay aligned within yourself, and you can meet whatever's happening out there from that space, and you have the awareness not to let your mind make a story, because this is where the problems really, really begin, and they stay. The mind then makes a story. And the one thing is with all that's going on, and especially for those of you who are, and most of you are living in Israel, where you've got family in the army, or people that were hurt or died, or all of these different things,
or kidnapped and sitting in Gaza waiting to be saved, or
all of these experiences, that to yes, you can feel that, but then not to make a story, not to let the mind make a story. Just breathe, and wherever you are, you could be sitting in a chair in your living room. Just see that right then and there, that's all there is this body is sitting in a chair. Humans, we're humans, but there's something inside each of us that has nothing to do with these bodies, that has nothing to do with the forms. And these bodies just do what they do, and Ra would call it, humans are killer monkeys. And I didn't know that many wars were going on. I mean, that's like a bit of a shock to hear that. And
most of them are not in the news because they're not interesting enough for the
to play it up and to
feed the
fear.
Global forces, and the media kind of has us looking at what they want us to look, as to not understand the bigger picture.
And that's also, they're looking for their clicks. What's going to bring the most clicks, and how are they going to make the most money? What catastrophe is going to bring them the most money? I mean, it's sad, but it's the way it is. So this consciousness that lives inside each of us is just pure. It's just, I can't even say it's awareness, because awareness almost
Awareness is aware of thought, but consciousness is just
there.
there.
Yeah. It's like an awareness is of something.
Yes, exactly. There
You know?
doesn't have to be
Yeah.
anything even to be aware of. It's just
And awareness is great. I mean, to be aware of the mind talking, to be aware of what's happening in the body.
yeah.
Please, this is wonderful. But deeper than that is just consciousness. You know, and you look at the universe, and most of the universe is nothing. I mean, we're little specks on planet Earth, you know. So, all that's unfolding everywhere, to try to really be stable in yourself. This to me is the only way that we can meet life now, because it's not going to get better. And one of the things, since I was little, all I wanted was peace and harmony. That really, it's all I wanted for
6'2",
humanity.
huh?
Yeah, just peace and harmony. And, I got involved in spiritual practices where we, that was what we were looking for and trying to bring to the earth and everything. And the reality for me is that there's never going to be peace on the planet.
Wow.
There's just never going to be peace on the planet, because the planet is moved by the mind, and the mind divides, the mind hates, the mind wants to, it's what runs governments, it runs lives, it runs businesses, it runs everything, is this mind. And the mind's never going to find peace. So the only thing I see is that only an individual can find peace inside themselves, no matter what's happening out here.
That's harsh, huh? You say it and I feel like, to really be, you have to really let go in such a deep, deep level. This is what this war has been really like humiliating for me, in the sense that it brings, humbleness, humility, in front of reality. I mean, this is reality. And there's all this mind going on, everybody bringing their own perspective, and everybody knows why it's, there's the conspiracy people, and then the news people, and each one is telling you why this happened. And it's such a great symbol to how, most people live their lives. There's this mind here, and it's trying to get what's going on so it can know what to do. And I haven't been living this for years, but something with this, each time there's this shock, it's like the shocks are taking us into mutation. Each time, I get this voice saying, okay, this is level 2, like you said. I got it, like my 4323 went, okay, this is level 2. And it's like this, like a video game, when you have a video game and you go on levels.
Exactly.
And each time it's like, okay, how do you withstand that? There's like the shock that brings me into, and I can see like the old remnants, of the world, like how I used to be in the world, listening to its mind. Like there's this automatic going back to that, as if that's a safe place. It's not. That's that's where the war's going on. And then just letting it go and going back to self, like you said, and anchoring into, okay, that's just the story, and there's nothing else to do. But
it's hard.
It can be really like, what's the word? Maya-ish. Desperation. You can really get despair. In a way. Some people are writing stuff. If anybody has a question, there's here international people going in as well. This was one of the people that was Hannelore and maybe. So yes, and do you have anything practical maybe you want to say to those people in Israel that, I mean, it's very hard not to get into the mind.
And it's very difficult for me to say anything because I'm not there. I'm not there in the energy field and the physical field and all that you're going through. I'm not there. But I can say from just my own life and difficult times that I went through is that I needed to continually be aware of my mind talking to me. That was, I mentioned it before, but that really was so important for me, you know, that because I would say, I have to do this, oh my God, if I don't take care of this, nothing's going, you know, this franticness, this nervousness, this upset, this frustration, this anger, whatever emotion was there, the mind grabs hold of it and then says these things to us, And to be able to then take what you're saying using I or you know, however you talk to yourself, and in your own language, whatever your language is, and just say, my mind really wants me to do, my mind wants me to, my mind says I have to call, you know, this push, the mind is pushing, and the mind is also really trying to figure out what to do, what's going to save you, what's going to save your family, and you know, all of this, and it can't know. It can't know. You know, I think about this tsunami that happened in Thailand years and years ago. And all the animals, all the mammals ran to the hills. And the humans went and got their cameras. You know, to take photos of what was happening. And for me, by being able to watch my mind and watch my thoughts and not let them push me into action, I can't shut them up. There's no way to stop the talking. I mean, if I haven't found it, and I know Ross said his mind still used to talk to him, but to just objectify it, you know, to not act from it, that allowed me to become more in touch with the human mammal without having the mind trying to run the life and without having the mind try to push me into action of any kind. And then the other thing is that I really feel that strategy protects us. You know, that strategy, I need to wait to respond to something. And then my inner authority is Sackle, so I'll go, And I don't know why I'm going, but I can trust now in my body that means that's not for me. And when the mind is running the show, it's very hard to stay in touch with your inner authority because there becomes this group energy, this tribal mentality, you know, and the tribal is the ego, the tribal is the emotions, and all of that being run by the mind, that's powerful. So to stay, not to get caught up in it, or if you do get caught up in it, you know, to be able to go, oh wait, you know, I'm going to just step back here. Because you're with your friends, you're with your families, you're with strangers, and everyone has their emotions about it. Everyone has their ideas and thoughts and what should do and what shouldn't do, and all of this, to just watch your own mind. Because we can't, you know, we can't really change what the other thinks or feels or anything, but we can stay aligned within ourselves so we're not like being, you know, lost in the waves and the sea of life, in a sense, huh?
And there's a few questions here.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, somebody's asking, is it raining? No, it's not raining, but we're on the beach. I mean, we wanted you to see the beach, but if you see the beach, you don't see us. So we
Right.
decided on this. But if you hear water, it's just the waves here in the ocean.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not
Cloudy.
an ocean. It's the Mediterranean, is it?
Yeah.
And there's a few more questions. First of all, somebody's asking, Gilad is asking about the raves, and this is a thought actually I had before when you said there was no peace. I was thinking, but maybe, when the raves rule the world, but that will take
Whoa.
some time. He's saying, isn't the 2027 mutation and rave people going towards a different reality with more peace and harmony?
Okay.
Do you want to answer that?
The raves are really going to have a hard time. Look what they're going to meet. They're going to meet the humans and the human mind. And the human mind is going to see them as different and weird and threatening. So, there's always going to be humans and raves. Always. I remember Ra talking about that.
He said something like 1,300 years, or he gave something, which is a long time.
It's a long time.
No one of us is gonna,
Right. Unless we
living to
come
see
back
it.
many times, who knows?
Exactly.
But the raves, it's yes, but this is they're just going to start trickling in, It's not like they're just going to appear and then they're going to bring this with them.
And someone's asking who the rave is, so I just want to say Ra was talking about a new kind of human, we can call it that is kind of birthing evolutionary through us, and that the first rave children will start coming in 2027. And we're not going to go into that information. This was not the point, but it is a part of the knowledge that has to do with the mutation that's going on, which we talk about all the time. By the way, the interesting thing for me is just watching how everything is so much about emotions, and I can feel as an emotional person who is aware how much this is like the breaking down of the motor. It's like the motor is running and you start putting sticks in it, in a way to stop it, and it's like it's kind of and I can feel what's on the other side of it. Within my system, I cannot imagine what it's going to look like when people are more aware of their emotional wave and they're not caught up by the emotional wave. But I feel all that has to do with it, and also, like I was sharing with you, the deep tribal, which is the mammal, basically. I mean, the killer monkeys, they're tribal. And right now it feels like with the corona it was very collective, and now it feels it's really like pushing the tribe. And I think this is the hardest for us all. Because, this is the blood running through the veins of the human, community as it is. I mean, the collective is just kind of a way to handle a bigger tribes in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To control.
Yeah.
That's what
to
the
control
collective is
when
trying to do.
when the tribes are and I feel the mutation, and this is what I have been getting since this has started, that the tribe itself is mutating. And in Israel, which is really tribal, it's like the heart of the tribal world. If you look at it, if you look at Jerusalem, which is like the heart of all the religions, and the religion is the tribe. And 1949, we're saying channels, but most of people know it, with its what is it called, korban. When you take a lamb and you put it on the
the slaughter.
the slaughter of victim, like victimization. In Hebrew, it's the same word, the victim, and in what you put for the gods. You know, it's
the sacrifice.
Yeah, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
The sacrificial, you know. And in Hebrew, sacrifice and victim is the same word.
Huh.
You know? Because,
interesting.
yeah, because that's what it is. Somebody has to be the victim, right? In the tribe. And the whole thing about the tribal thing going on in Israel is who's the victim now? You know? And it's like the international mind is trying to figure out now, wait, who's the victim? Like, who's the one we should stand by? Because he's the victim. I mean, is it the slaughtered Israeli children? Or is it the Gaza children dying now? You know? And they're all victims.
And what's amazing for me when you said that, because I never thought of it like this, I spent my whole life sacrificing myself for those I loved. That was it. So in a sense, I was just a victim. I don't do that anymore. I don't sacrifice myself for anyone. It's like, you ask, I love you, I might have a no. Has nothing to do with love. It's about me honoring this all the time and not giving this away, not sacrificing this because of my family, my loved ones, my friends.
My ideas, basically.
All of it.
It's
All of it. You know? And this is, I mean, this was amazing for me to be able to stand in myself like this. And you know, the tribal, it's a we. And I have a lot of tribal in my chart. I am a very tribal person. And what I was looking at is, it's a we, but there's no we. There's just you. There's just me. There's no we. Each of us, individual, moving through life in our own vehicle. And maybe the vehicles pull up side by side, you know, and they ride along for a while. And the manifestor vehicle asked. I didn't go to her. She came to me and asked me. I went, So here we are with our vehicles next to each other, but in correctness, in harmony. Because this is the only place we're going to find harmony. It's by being energetically correct with another human being. It's not all human beings. It's not going to have that. It's just one person at a time. You know, I wrote a book about my whole first 10 years of my experiment, and the name that came, and it really came, was a revolution of one. Because there's no other revolution. There's all these revolutions where poof, all these people go out and take over, you know, and then there's another one, and nothing lasts. But the revolution of one, no one can move me from this. No one. I don't care how much I love you.
Is that true, Mary?
Yeah. So it's really about this, you know. Ra had the term enlightened selfishness.
Selfish enlightenment.
Selfish enlightenment.
Yeah, which is the same thing.
Right. Same thing. I don't remember exactly what I said. But and then what we're moving from the collective and the tribe, which is family, emotions, guilt, shame, I should, all of this, religions, believe this, don't believe that. The collective, everyone should follow this pattern. We have to all do this. These are the... We're moving from that to individual integration. That's what all the themes, through shock, that's what the themes point to for 2027, for the next 400 years. So what we needed for human evolution for these past 400 years was the collective, was all the logical development and research and all these amazing things that have happened in these 400 years. And the tribal, you know, the community and all of this. We needed that for our human evolution, but we don't need it we move forward for our human evolution. Not, it doesn't mean it's going to disappear. It's just not. It's kind of like tectonic plates, invisible tectonic plates. You know, we're standing on an invisible earthquake, basically.
Yep.
And
We feel it.
And it's shifting. It's continually shifting. And how to be stable with that shifting? To be aligned inside yourself. Yeah.
So Tamal is asking, so basically we are evolving through shock, yeah? Not only shock, but yes, well, we talked a lot about shock, so people took that. But there's other things, by the way, changing, but they're all individual things and integrational. And you know what's interesting? You know, the keynote for individuality, empowerment in Hebrew basically means being more yourself. Ha'atzama and atzmi means self. So basically empowerment is like being more yourself. And even atzmi, which is self in Hebrew, is the same root like bone. Etzem.
Interesting.
Yes,
The
so
bones.
So for me, like, it's more, the more I'm in my bones, like in my marrow, you know, like really centered in who I am, the self gets empowered, and then it empowers others. And then integration is self-empowerment. It's even like more to the bones, you know. And this is really interesting that just that empowerment is nothing than just being more and more ourselves, and everything that is happening is just to bring us more into ourselves, because the more crazier it gets out there, the more people wake up to the fact that they know nothing and they can do nothing about it, and they have to surrender, you know, in a new way, not in the tribal surrender way, which is basically surrender to your tribe.
And not in the believing way. It's, you need something to get we all need something to get us to our bodies, you know, to align in the bodies. That's so important. And Tamar had asked about the
shock,
the shock,
evolving shock.
No, we're mutating from the shock. We're mutating from the shock. And the mutation that comes from the shock, basically, we're going to survive it or not. I mean, that's what shock is.
You mean as an individual or as humanity?
People.
People.
I don't call them
both.
Individuals, because
No, I mean one by one. I mean.
Yeah. Because
you mean
when
people or people is also people, right?
a lot
like,
of individuals.
Like, Jewish is a people. So that's interesting as well.
Not like that. No, I'm thinking more of
persons.
Yeah, you know, like some people will have a shock because if you're shocked and you only have your mind, you become mentally unstable. I mean, this is what you see. I see it all over the world. I've been traveling for the last 3 years. And, you know, it's like, it feels like that people are more mentally unstable than ever before. Ever before. You know, I got goosebumps. It's like I'm someone who used to drive and yell at someone who did something stupid in their car, like cut me off or something, you know, or give them the finger or something. I don't do anything because I just don't know. Do they have a gun? You know, really?
Yeah.
Are they going to follow me home? Are they going to cut me off? Because this is what's happening out there. Because the fuse that tips someone over is so short, and it's just getting so this is what I meant with, you know, not that someone might not physically survive shock, but mentally they could really become mentally unstable after shocks. So it's so important for us, because the only way to withstand shock is to be really with yourself and not be affected by what's happening out here. It's the only way, because the shock affects everyone. Everyone's minds are going like, what do we do? How do we do it? You know, all of this, everyone's emotions are all over the place, and the only way is to just, and that's for everything. I mean, that's
you know,
how I
you
see it.
speak it and you do this movements with your hands, and I just saw how it's all about vibration. You know, empowerment's like going in the bones. It's kind of like being this. What do you call this stick that makes the noise? The
yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's this metal stick that you. It's kind of like being
Tuning
that.
fork.
Yeah, like a tuning fork. You know,
yeah.
just being your own tuning fork, and you just tune into your, because otherwise the vibrations. It's like in the Matrix movie, where he realizes just there is no spoon.
Yeah.
There is no spoon.
And
It's that.
as you align into yourself, and as you don't believe what your mind's saying, and you don't act from what your mind is saying, and you kind of, I think of it like when I began my experiment, I was like this blob. I was such a wimp. I didn't want to upset anyone. I was sacrificing and just giving of myself. I mean, really. And it was like this, bringing it all in, because I had to wait, and the waiting helped me so much. It helped me so much, just this waiting. It almost killed me. But it really began the transformation, you know, it brought it all in, and then this alignment started to happen within, you know, this stability, this inner stability. And then I started noticing that there was like this frequency inside, almost like a song was being sung, and it was me. And not that it was music or anything, but it was almost a vibration, And I knew it was me, and I could feel it. And now I can feel when that frequency is a little off. I can feel it. So what I do is I just don't let my mind tell me what I should do, or what the problem is, or what went wrong in the life, or whatever. Just kind of just come back and wait.
Listen to your song. Let's listen to your inner song. It's beautiful.
And then that vibration comes back. Or somebody says, do you need to change something? Do you need to move? Do you need to, and I go, And that brings me back into that frequency.
And this is the hardest thing for people, especially in those situations, like everybody's saying, okay, so what can I do? How can I help others? How can we, and that's all, basically most of it, and I'm not, it was beautiful to see what happened in Israel the moment that this happened. Everybody just kind of like started,
the tribe comes together.
Yeah, and it was really amazing. But you can see that if people go on a long time like this, everybody's gonna be, no energy, burnout.
Totally.
It's not. You can't hold that a long time. And this waiting that you're speaking about of strategy, which is this is the gift that takes us to this inner core, inner peace, it's so difficult in times like this. It's so difficult. So do you want to say a few words about how you wait, even with the situation being like this? And especially maybe for generators, because they do the most.
Yeah.
I can see they're like, they responded and but how to just.
I just had one situation that was really devastating for me. My daughter and grandchildren were in a car accident in like 2,000 miles away, and I didn't know how they were, and my whole frequency was disturbed, and I just waited. My mind said, "You've got to go, get on a plane, do something." My mind, wow, it had so many things for me to do and should do, and what I could, how all of this, and I knew I needed to wait. So just the waiting was like, but still there was this inside. And, my husband just asked me, are you worried? That was my truth. It was my truth. So I'm not saying, that worry is, whatever your truth is, it's our truth. We're human, you know? Yeah, consciousness is inside, but this ride is human, huh? And he said, is there anything you can do now? And I went, mm-mm. And then everything just relaxed in that, because my mind was trying to find something for me to do. So in a situation where of the intensity that you first met and are continually meeting, is to not initiate, unless you're a manifestor, and then you've got to initiate from where it's correct. But the rest of us, we need something to come to us. So don't, you know, I just suggest that you wait until someone says, can you help? You know, can you donate? Do you have this? Do you have that? Can you give of yourself? That kind of thing. Because what I see is the most important thing that any of us can bring to those we love is an inner stability in times of crisis. And if you get caught up running around crazy like everyone else, there's no inner stability. So it's, you see, the mind wants us to do. And in the truth, it's us. We're here to be. And when we can bring that being to any situation, just that presence alone, even if people, you're not saying a word, people feel it because our auras talk to each other, you know, and this presence, it whether they know you or not, they get it. Their bodies get it. Their minds may still be blah, 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 we should do this or that, but something inside them feels it, huh?
And you know what comes up when you're speaking, I'm like listening to your tone, you know, and it's like this, like the stick, you know, we're talking about, and what comes up is, you know, there's these two realities of the design and the personality, like the bodies, and the bodies would be just fine without this, you know, the personality agitated, and when we're just this presence, and we're actually helping to take the collective down from the mind, from this mental world that we're not meant to live anymore, and to kind of vibrate this, you know, this being in the body, and then that can help the movement of the bodies to be correct.
And relax.
So, yeah.
It helps the bodies relax.
Yeah, and then the movements of the other bodies, and it's spreading, you know, I mean, it can spread this. And that's if we want to do like, I don't know, peace work or whatever. It's like different than what we think. It's not here, it's more this presence that you speak, because that does its own thing.
And it's not trying to get anyone else to do it.
Yes,
You just
which is
live it.
peace. You know, I mean, because when you're trying to make other people understand what you understand and they don't, you know, and it's all, and the ego is like, yeah, I know, I understand what's going on and I can help you. Yeah. And so it just makes everything more agitated. So body presence. And the plane going by. And the water, and just listening to the sound. And that's something that is always present for everyone. No matter what the situation is right now, just to kind of be the senses. You know, without putting stories on what we sense. That's such a key for me, like going into the body. Okay, just listen. Without trying to understand what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And there are things that we can do, you know, like practices, human design wise, like strategies of practice, or what you said before with the mind, writing down, my mind tells me I need to do this or that. So there are practices.
Yeah, and for generators, you know, which are 70%, whether you're emotional or not, you have sounds. If you're emotional, the sounds aren't your inner authority, but you have sounds. And you can growl, like the body has stuff, and it's like, ugh, ugh. You can growl, and not to use words, it helps to release the tension in the body. I had this happen in the workshop.
Right.
Someone shared something about what a teacher in human design had told them, and I took it in, and I was kind of answering them, and all of a sudden I just started growling and making the sounds I haven't made.
It was beautiful. I loved it. I was like,
yeah, it was like that. It was such a relief.
Like rage,
for me.
Like this inner rage is like, and then it went away.
So these things, if there's like the body's feeling tense because of all it's taken in or whatever, you can make sounds. That can help, and that's 70%. And for those who have sacral authority, who it's not so easy for the sounds to come out, which are they're your inner authority, is there's this there's humming. Because when you hum, there's this vibration that just happens inside. You can feel it, and you can feel with the humming this kind of, this
the tuning fork.
Or the Tibetan chanting, Oh. You can just feel the pipe. I mean, and people who have emotional authority, who are generators and manifesting generators. And I don't even know, it could work to get rid of sacral energy that you've taken on if you're projectors and manifestors. I don't know, you could just try it, but that just came up now as an idea. But sounds are amazing, these sounds, because they definitely get you out of your mind.
And they connect you to the individuality, connect you to mutation. There is a question here about mutation. If we can speak more about the mutation according to human design, especially in the light of what the world is experiencing. Do you have anything you want to share about mutation?
I can say for myself that I went in and sat next to Ra for this reading, and he told me my strategy and authority. And I left the reading and started living life. I stopped initiating. I waited. I died in that. It was really, really hard. Really hard, because I was a good pretend manifester, Got a lot done. But and something happened, and I can't say when or whatever, but whoever went into that reading at some point was no longer there. That's mutation. It's not like I improved my life. It's not like I changed how, it's like, here she was, she's no longer, this is here. So
and it was in the cells before, it's like with the butterfly that you have the you have the caterpillar, and then it goes into a cocoon, which is the death you're speaking about, and when it goes out of the cocoon, it's something else. It's not the caterpillar, it's like that. It's like, but it was there waiting, because we all have individuality, and individuality is mutation waiting to happen. And then if we take what you're talking about and we apply it to what's happening in the world, this is what I feel is happening in the world. We're like in the cocoon now. You know, we're in the cocoon, and that death of the ego that we go through as a person, as an individual. What I see is that this is what the planet is going through. Like humanity has all this identities about itself, and inside of humanity there are, you know, identities of each tribe and each people, and all this is like going through death because we are mutating. And it's happening in our body, and it's not like we understand it in our mind. I mean, if you're not a human designer.
And for me, it's not. Everyone's not going to become a butterfly. That's the whole thing. The mutation's not going to happen. You know, it's just not the way it is. You know, it's like because if you stay with the mind and you don't honor the form, there's no way. There's no way that you can really live something so unique and so different. It can't happen.
No,
The mind won't let it.
Each time you talk about it, I can see the difference between like the six line mind and the 5 line mind. I mean, you say it and it hits me like, oh no, not everybody. And it's like the 5 has this, you know, universalization fantasy, like, no, we're all going to be mutated now, you know, the whole planet, we're going to be. And it's like each time you say it, it's like, oh wow, I gotta give that fantasy up.
My mind used to hope we all could.
Yeah.
My mind really wanted that, really wanted everyone to relax in themselves and be themselves and live this amazing experience of just being yourself, you know, but I just don't see it anymore.
Yeah, you probably see correct. What to do. So, if anybody has any last questions or anything to say, there's a lot of thank yous and hearts and you know, for the answers that you give, and you know, so just for you to know that they're all very okay. And someone says it's hard to distinguish between movement in the body versus mind moving the body. This is Lucy. Do you have anything to say about that?
Okay. When we were setting up, the table, we were going to be outside so you could see the sea, and I'm kind of waiting a little because Bhavaka's the manifester, so I'm not going to move her energy or interfere with her energy, so I'm kind of hanging back a little. But you know, we had the flow started happening from the bodies, and then we ended up in here. Now that's just body movement, but it wasn't, you know, my mind saying to me, oh, we should move it in here, and then I act and move it in here. You know, it's very different. The mind tells us to do something and we do it. That's not body movement. That's the mind pushing the body to do something. And that's how people get exhausted. And that's how people really get old. I mean, in spirit old. I mean, the bodies are going to be old. They're going to die. That's just, there's no one-way ticket. We're all going to die. I'm going to die, you know. But I'm not going to die with old inside. Body will get old. But inside, because this consciousness is forever young. I mean, there's no age, you know. So when the mind says, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to say goodbye over there, I'm going to greet that person who's coming in, and you follow the mind, that's when you meet resistance, you know. But if you wait, you know, and we talked about this in the workshop too, you know, someone would say, but it's not polite to not say hello. So, who cares? I wait. If someone says hello to me, then I can smile back. Or I can just smile if we look in each other's eyes, or just look in each other's eyes and nobody says a word. Powerful. it's not letting the mind push us into action. And then there's the body movement, you know, it's like my body gets up, it goes in, it brushes its teeth. My mind didn't say, oh, you better brush your teeth. It just happens. And once in a while it doesn't, you know, I'll be honest, you know, I walk out and say, oh, I forgot, you know? Because there's no more this telling this, it has to do this.
No more slavery.
Because we are our own slaves. The mind has made our bodies the slave. So, and it's so delicious to see, you know, like, what was it? Oh, at break yesterday, my mind thought I was going for a cup of coffee. So we were on level 0. Coffee's on level 3. I push 5. My body pushed 5, which is the floor of where my room is. I was like, well, I'm not having a coffee. I'm going to my room during the break. You know, that's the kind of
and
magic.
it's fun. You get to be surprised, right? Oh, we're doing this. Okay.
You know, I remember in the early days going for a drive with my car, and all of a sudden I'm pulling into this parking lot with, you know, some stores. And it was like, I guess we're going in. It is.
It's fun.
I remember saying, and I shared this in the workshop, I want to live what my mind can't know. You know, and it's all the unknown. And the truth is, we don't know. We know this moment. We're here. Who knows what's going to be? Who knows? We don't know. We can never know the next moment ever. And the mind is always worried about the next moment.
Until it's not. And then you fall in love with it, which is what's beautiful. I mean, everybody's afraid of this not knowing. But actually, that's love, you know? Love doesn't know.
I love not knowing. I love not knowing. And I have an open ajna. You know, and for those of you who know human design, when, you know, the old me was like, I didn't want anyone to know I didn't know, because then they would think I was stupid with the open ajna. Now it's like, wow, I love not knowing.
Yeah.
I love not knowing.
It's the best. And then somebody asked here before, well, because you were speaking about the mind, and they said, well, what do we have a mind for?
Oh,
like,
you have a
question.
mind. Oh, I love my mind. I love my mind. My mind loves to wonder. My mind loves to research. It loves to fantasize and think about things. It just loves to do all that. You know? But not to push me to do something. It's very different. It's a playground, or it's hell.
And actually, it's my experience that the mind itself, it's like when the human is free from the mind is freed from the human. You know what I'm saying? It's like the slavery goes both ways, because mind cannot fly. I mean, I haven't defined that. You know, my mind is like, wow. And it cannot fly, it cannot maximize his potential, the mind itself, when it's bound to this human having to tell him all the time what to do. You know, it's like mind itself is evolving inside the human. That's what all the, you know, the global consciousness program is about. It's like the mind is the tool of consciousness in the human, evolving in the human. And I feel that when we get free of mind as an authority, as telling us what to do, it's like the mind itself is free. And, you know, and then you get to just enjoy each other. Consciousness enjoying.
And what I love, because everywhere, I mean, not just in families and tribes, but everywhere, I would say this, and I would expect the other person to agree with me. And if they didn't agree with me, we had a problem. And then the fighting, and then you try to convince, and then you fight, and all of the energy that's wasted. And when two people are just living who they are, the mind can share the seeing. You know, like Pavaka sharing about her experience of the mind, and I was like, wow, I don't have that experience. But it wasn't me trying to have that experience,
Yes.
or it's like
Or saying you have a different experience, so that can be true if I don't
Uh-huh.
experience it.
Yes, exactly. So it's the sharing of the seeing, because most people, when they're talking to each other, they're talking from the minds, and they're talking from the homogenized patterns of behavior from wherever they live.
And it's connected to this personality, which has this I identity. So if I am my mind has to be right. Otherwise, I'm not right. I'm not good.
Yeah.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
That's all the
Yeah,
self-hatred.
yeah.
Because it's connected to this. That's why we call it personality.
Uh-huh.
Huh? All these thoughts about what I am, what I should be.
I
Oh,
remember it
exhausting.
was because I thought I was my mind. I thought that was me before all the searching. I really thought it was me, and I think it was. I had a blind date. I was like I don't know, maybe 1972 or something, and I was on a blind date. He took me to a vegetarian restaurant. I'm from New York,
And Italian.
and Italian, and we're in California, and I'm like, okay, I can have an omelet. I knew what that was, but then he asked me, so what's your reality? And I was like, I was a New York housewife, and I was like, don't we all have the same reality? So that's quite a journey to really. I thought I was my mind. That's something very. And now it's like, wow, yeah, very cool.
There was another question here. First of all, a lot of thanks here again. Somebody said she was completely overwhelmed. Kimaya, she was completely overwhelmed this morning, and this talk brought her back to herself. And Alon said he fell in love with you, so that's cute. I was okay. And then Gilad asks if you have a tip about why is it moving? היחס למי שאנחנו קוראים. Okay, this is a good one, Marianne. When you feel someone is acting their not self, a tip about like how to connect with them, and maybe a word to reflectors in these times of change. So it's two questions, but the first one is like when you feel someone is not self, like how to connect with them.
I think you can very superficially connect, I saw this good movie yesterday, but I don't think you ever can connect because you're not never getting them. And what I've come to see for myself, that everyone out here is not my business. Whatever they're living is not my business. Not self, living it's not my business. This is my business. So I just stay with me, and I've done a few things that I know, especially in the early days, that could be considered very rude. I'd be online to get a coffee, and then this guy who I didn't know, a stranger, starts talking to me about GMOs, and he's just, and all I want to have is my coffee, So I just looked at him and I said, can you ask me if I want to hear this? He got so insulted. I was like, fuck you, excuse me. But it's like, I'm supposed to listen just because you're talking, So it's like, I'm no longer nice.
Yeah.
I wait, okay? If I'm with someone who's a not self, how did I get there to begin with? Did they ask me? I'm a generator. Did they ask me, can we go for a coffee? Did I go, So was I in my strategy?
Because if you are, it doesn't matter if they're self or not self. That's just That's just more mind coming in, like trying to see if a person is a self or not self. How would you know?
Yeah.
You know, in a way, it's like I'm here to know me, and I'm here to be myself. And in my experience, if I am correct, you know, and then everything that happens just happens. So some people you would go deeply into conversation with because they have this awareness, which is interesting, and some people you just say, nice day outside.
And I, you know, to be honest, I spend most of my time alone because I really love being with me. You know, I just do. I love being alone, and I never loved being alone except when I was really little. You know, I always wanted to be out there, and it's very social and all. So, you know, just see for yourself how did you get there, you know, and they're all, I mean, most people are not living from their true nature, they're living from their mind. But they're not bad, and it's not their fault. You know, this is what's really important, and it's something it took me a long time to learn in human design was, you know, just because someone is given the strategy and authority doesn't mean that they can live it. Because it's not in our hands. We're not in control. We can't make something happen. It either is there to happen or not. I didn't make myself live this. It happened. And so I just realized that, you know, there's no fault. This is one of the early days where I had this flyer because there was no internet, so there was a flyer. No fault, no blame, no choice. Love yourself. You know, and that's quite amazing. That's quite amazing, because the old me was always, well, why are they upset? What? It was always out here. And this
trying to fix the world out there.
Yeah.
Are you okay to go on, or are you about enough? There's a question about a subject you like, projectors and generators. Do you want to answer? Okay, so Mary Lou asks, how do I allow projector energy field into mine MG without rejection?
Well, you're not rejecting. Your sacral center's closing and pushing them out. The sacral center's a mechanism. And energetically, like I was sharing earlier with Pavaka being a manifestor and me being a generator, that I can't go to her, it's not correct. And if I go to her, I'm going to feel that pushback, which can be felt as rejection, just because that's what her aura does. Not personal, it's the aura that's doing it. She's not rejecting me, but her aura is, that's what's felt. So if a projector comes to you and initiates with you, that sacral center is going to close, and they're going to feel that. Because energetically, it's always best for the generator or the manifesting generator to invite the projector. In that case, they need to be the initiators, and then the projector needs to ask back so that they're correct for themselves. Yeah. It's a big subject, and
it's
we spend
not
for a few minutes.
We spend days and days on subjects like that. But they know they can watch lives and courses, and there's the courses on your sites, beautiful ones. Maybe if there's no other questions, you might wrap it up. Is there anything? Yeah, you're good with that. Yeah, because I can start feeling you.
Yeah, like that.
After
down, 5 days of a workshop, it's like,
let me rest
you
a little.
You feel it, huh?
Yeah, I feel it. I feel your energy.
The energy,
Yeah. And I got up tired as well today after this 5 days with so many people and so many things going on. But it's so beautiful to be in the aura. I just want to let you guys know I love immersions, and what Marianne does now, Love Yourself, which is like an extension, let's say, of immersion. And you have one in January, did you say?
Yeah, in
When
Sedona.
in Sedona, Sedona, January. We all in Israel, we don't know what's going
Right,
to go,
exactly.
So it's like January.
Yeah, and you also have something in Europe,
Yeah.
which is a lot
We
closer.
we have a festival in Bulgaria. I didn't even say anything about it yet because of the situation,
Yes,
but I will
because-
let you know.
yeah.
I'm supposed to be there, but who knows
Yeah.
if I'll be there in
It's
person.
it's crazy because when COVID happened, I was supposed to travel to Taiwan and Austria.
And we were supposed to do
Yes.
this. Remember we
Uh-huh.
were talking about
Uh-huh.
doing this
Me coming
festival
to
in January
Israel.
in Israel, and
Everything,
went.
yeah. Because so life is the unknown, huh? And the more you relax in yourself, the more you relax into the unknown. Because the truth is, we can never know. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But I keep inviting Marianne to Israel, so that's
You never know. I went out of this.
I'll keep on
Yeah.
checking you out. Thank you, everyone,
Yes.
for joining us. Thank you,
mm.
Marianne,
Yeah.
for responding to this and bringing your beautiful energy that I love. And this is a hug from all the 50 people that was watching this, and I send it
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Did you see? I went to her. That was just. I didn't hug, and then she came to me. It feels so good when it's correct. Yummy.
It is.
Okay.
So be safe, be
Mhm.
well, be yourself, love yourself, be in your strategy and authority, and we'll keep talking. We'll keep doing things to support and empower all of us. Goodbye.
Bye bye.